Okay, so we got the last piece of the pie here. I'm going to be putting on the robot, but it's the cortex, which sits right in the center, underneath the claw, on top. Basically on either side of the motor. So if I show it, that's where it goes, and it sits right there in the middle. It doesn't have to be necessarily perfectly lined up with anything on there, as long as it's centralized over the motors underneath the claw. And if you look at step 26 and 27, tells you to put these bad boys on. I'm not going to put those on because it's just an extra step. It is important to have them on though, because that's how you'll keep the cortex from moving around. Although you do screw the cortex in, but it also keeps the claw from hitting. I'm going to put them on. I'm just going to show it for the video. I just wanted to put the cortex on, and once I have the cortex on, I will show you how to wire and run the robot. And the cortex doesn't have to go on exceptionally tight. You're going to use the longer screws because you need to get through the frame and the cortex itself. And the cortex has got a pretty thick plastic set here. But on the opposite side, when the screws go all the way through, your nuts will go on there pretty easily with your fingers, just spinning them around. You might have to take the cortex off. If the cortex goes bad, the cortex can get fried. There's several things that can happen to the cortex. That might require you to take it off. So, we're not doing Hercules, like I said. So, once you get them on there, I just tighten it with my fingers, and that's that. So there you go. The cortex is on where it goes. I've already got the dongle. I call it a dongle, like a USB drive, but it's what enables you to communicate. I'm actually going to take that out because we have to connect it to communicate with the controller and whatnot. So this will, I'll put it all together. But there you go. That's the cortex on, and then I'll put the other pieces together, and then I got to do a close-up video to show you how to wire this bad boy. So we'll call that 10A. Okay, so as per the instructions, so we can fully understand for each motor, okay, the right drive motor and the left drive motor, if I come over here and show you, everything plugs in to this side over here. So if I'm turning the robot, so I'm behind the robot, on the left side you have that motor going into number 10 over here, right? And then on the right side, the right drive motor is going into number 1, which is over here. Then for the claw motor and the arm motor, you absolutely need the 3 connector, right? So it connects to the wire, goes through, and then it becomes a 3-prong thing. And one plugs into 6, and the other one plugs into 7. So if I zoom in, you can see how they're plugged in there, 6 and 7. Okay, and as you can see, it's the motor itself has 2 prongs, and then it connects into a 3-prong motor port. Okay, and that's what gets plugged in there. Then once it's all hooked up, you have your controller connected via USB to the VexNet Cortex, right? And if I just move one side, then it turns. If I move the other side, turns the other way. So to get it to go forward, we push both forward. If I want it to go back, I push both back, and I try not to fall off the table. Okay, so now once I've done that, the controller and the Cortex have spoken to each other. They know who they are, and they have a connection. So I can now take this off. So I disconnect the wire, and then I take what I call dongles, which are USB Bluetooth, and you plug one in to the Cortex, and you plug the other one in to the back of the controller. And then you wait, and the light should turn green when they're communicating, but because I had them on and I didn't turn them off, chances are they're not going to communicate properly because they like to be restarted. So I'm going to... So I come over here and I restart the Cortex. Power on. And I power on the controller, and I can see the lights. So the controller is green, and now it is in fact talking to the Cortex. So I'm waiting. Now they're all green, and now I can control the robot wirelessly, and that's it. That is the full robot construction completed and done.